guys, it's Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Today I'm going to be playing with the 3D Vignette Retro Television from Spellbinders. This is just, I got so excited as soon as I saw this cute little TV, and first things first, I need to go ahead and cut everything out, but let me show you some of the pieces here. First, we've got regular vignette style. We've got the sides. That's going to be for the sides. This is going to be for the panels between everything. Make sure it is plenty sturdy. They gave us a double-sided, so that is kind of cool. And we've got all the pieces for our TV. So we've got our base. So it's kind of like one of those old school console kind of TV. So here we've got the base there. These are the little feet to go on the end of it. So you can see how that kind of goes. Then we've got these bits. So here is our outside of our TV. Okay. And we've got an inner frame so that we can have kind of a border around everything. Then we've got the piece in the center that is going to go around our television screen. And then we've got this smaller little oval piece in the middle. Now, these days, the TV, the screen itself would be larger than this whole thing. But back in the day, they had this one big tube. And that's what this piece is in the center. And we've got all our little dials, because this was also before the days of remote control. And we've got another little panel here that I think is for the speaker box. And then we've got lots of fun other bits. This one here is for the antenna for rabbit ears. I think that is so super cute. So I'm going to go ahead and start cutting everything out. And I'll explain a little bit more about what everything is. I haven't decided if I'm going to do it all 3D or not, or if I'm going to just leave it as a flat card, because I've done a few different vignette styles and you guys have seen them and they all basically work the same way. So if you've seen any of those, you would use the same concepts for this. Also, I will leave a link down below to the PDF instructions to show you exactly how to put all of this together. So there are a few bits that I didn't cut out. That did take a little while, but it is super fun. And when you see how many different ways you can use each of the individual dies, it's just incredible. Okay, for instance, this teeny tiny one, you basically need to cut that one out 4 times because it's 4 of the dials for the front of your TV. So anyway, I've got everything cut out. I am going to do not flat. I'm going to probably add some dimension, but I'm not going to do the 3D vignette. So I did not use this die, which is of course for the dividers. I did not use this one, which is for the sides to give that pop-up mechanism. And I also did not use these guys, which can make for like a striped front of your TV. I think that is super cool because I decided I'm going to use a piece of pattern paper as the screen for my TV instead. There's also this little piece that is 3 little squares, and what you do with it, we've got these little speaker grills, and this actually can go, you can use that as an alternative speaker grill piece. And it's designed to be able to put, you can use that outer frame to basically do a background on it. I haven't decided if I'm going to add a backing to it because I think it'll still look pretty well on this wood grain brown that I'm using here. Also, this die, which cuts out kind of the main background panel on our TV, also goes good for some little mini journaling cards, so you can layer them up as little messages inside your vignette. I think that is super cool. I did not decide to do that today, but maybe I will do that on a future video. You guys let me know down in the description what you think. Is that something that I should be making a video on for you, and is it something that you'd be interested in seeing? So I'm starting off with my wood grain base. Now this is, I think, some Hero Arts cardstock from a card kit that I've had in my stash for quite a while. It's just basically been in my stash and I haven't used it. So I decided that would be super awesome to use as basically as my console for my TV. And since I'm not going to do the vignette, it's going to be a little easier for me to adhere these guys together. All I'm doing is turning them over, and I'm going to tape the base to the top. Okay? So I'm just adding a piece of tape there, and this is going to hold these 2 pieces together. When you do the vignette, you will want to have like a stabilizer bar, and you can make that stabilizer bar out of those little rectangles that I did not use, the ones that are used for doing the vertical or horizontal lines on your TV screen. So now we've got all of that together. I love the wood grain, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere this down, and I think I am going to use foam tape for all of this. Then when I pop it up on my card base, I can either, go flat, or I can go with a little bit more dimension and pop the whole thing up. Have not decided that yet. Right now I'm just thinking I want to get my focal image, my cute little TV done. So I'm adding a few strips of foam tape on the back. And this is my Scotch foam tape that I use all the time. That is not too thick, which means that you're able to do multiple layers and not have too much of a problem with trying to send it through the mail. You could, of course, always, hand deliver this, and that is always a fun way to deliver your cards as well. So just removing the release paper. I'm going to add a little liquid glue on the back of my foam to give me a little wiggle room so I can get this perfectly positioned and reduce the chance of ripping up that pretty wood grain. Okay, next I'm going to put on the little feet, and that's this tiny piece here. And that's like those little pieces that we always saw at the bottom of any kind of, well, at the bottom of our console TVs. I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, we had a console TV. So we're going to just put these little feet right down here on the bottom of our wood grain. So yes, I know I am aging myself, right? There we go. I remember having a real long piece of furniture. This one is small compared to the one that we had. I'd say it was probably, like, if you were looking at it this way, it was probably like this long. It was one of those big long pieces. Had a record player on one side. Yes, there was such thing as a record player. Okay, so this piece I'm going to put right here, and I think I'm going to lay it flat as well, just like I did the feet. Just adding some adhesive to the back. And I'm choosing a different color of brown for each of these pieces so that you can see them better, give it a little bit more contrast. Okay. Now we can start working on the well, actually, I'm going to put this piece of trim first on there. This piece of trim is going to go right across that crease, right down there at the connection line between our two pieces, between the console, the base, and the TV itself. There we go. And let that sit there for a bit to dry. And go ahead and start putting together some of these other bits. Now we've got a die. This one has 3 pieces. We've got 2 circles and a bar, and that creates one of our dials, because back in the day, we used to actually have to get up and go to the TV in order to change the channels. Okay, so there's the center part of it, and then we would have this bar across the middle of it that would basically be where we could hang on to it. You know, you'd hold on to it and then you turn it. You may have seen something, if you haven't actually seen a console TV like this because you're young, you probably have seen something like that on your stove where you're able to turn on the dials for your stove. Okay, I'm setting that off to the side so it can dry. And then we can start working on the other knobs. Now this is one where it would be easy to lose some of the other pieces. I've cut out 4 of those small circles with the tiny dots. And that's going to be some more of the knobs that are on the front of our console. Okay, we've got that little piece there. Then I can pick up one of these little tiny dots and put that right in the middle. I need to do that 4 times. In addition to that, we've also got this slider control. And if I remember right, that was because sometimes when you're tuning your TV, you couldn't get it exactly right, and this would be kind of where you may be able to adjust it a little bit. So I'm going to add one of those little tiny dots to the front of our little slide and let that one dry. Okay, so another real fun thing for vintage TVs, again, like I was saying, sometimes it was hard to get everything tuned in. Well, there we had something that they called rabbit ears. So that is this bit here. Oh, we've got a couple of little poles here. And then we've got this little base. Okay, so I cut everything out of silver because I love the mirror cardstock. It is what it is. And I'm going to flip it over onto the back so that I can add these little antennas, like ET kind of thing. These little antennas onto the back. And give them a chance to hold on too, because this is just super fun. See, the way that it was, you had to move these around and try to get your TV show in focus and kind of get it to be not so, sometimes it would be grainy and all, anyway, it would be kind of bad resolution, not like what we have on YouTube. And I think I'm going to have it a little bit off to the side so it looks like we've actually been trying to tune our TV a little bit. Okay, I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to go ahead, since we're here, I'll go ahead and adhere these guys down. Now, these are the little speaker boxes. It's basically, you didn't have surround sound. You had all of the sound was coming directly out of your TV. So I'm going to put some adhesive down on the back of this. And my adhesive does dry flat, and does dry matte and clear, which is good. And then I'm going to put it right there in the middle. And I'm using the grid lines on my craft mat to make sure I get that place right. Okay, now I can go ahead and do the other two. And this has so many holes in there, I'm just kind of running the glue right over the sides of it. And then I'm going to try to get this one centered about the same on this side. And again, I'm using my grid from my craft mat to get that placed. And then I can put my third one on. There we almost stuck to my finger. Okay, let's go ahead and try that again. Okay, so now we've got our little speakers on the bottom of our little TV. I think this is so cute. And I think I am going to add a little bit of foam behind at least the bigger of the knobs. I'm going to see if I can cut it small enough to go on behind the smaller ones, because I think that would be pretty fun, having them popped up a little bit from the back. Okay, so I have a little bit of foam tape behind each of my pieces here, and it looks like it's not wanting to stick. That's okay. I am going to go ahead and take off both sides of the release paper on this first one, and hopefully the other ones I have pressed in there enough to make sure that it's going to stick all the way. What I'm doing is I don't want to press too hard on this metal mirror cardstock, because you can dent it. That's one of the things I have just loved about this specific cardstock from Spellbinders is it looks and feels and acts a lot like metal, which is one reason why you get those really, really, really nice results from it. I absolutely love this stuff. But that also means that it can kind of be a little bit finicky, meaning if I press my fingernails into it to try to get it to behave, then it's not going to work that well because it's going to leave some dents, and I don't want to leave any dents. Okay, so I'm going to press it down on there, try to make sure I've got this piece here. Well, that one looks like it is pretty good. Now I'll go ahead and put that down because I am using that foam. Did I lose one of my little guys? Okay, I've got my 4 little baby dials. Okay, those are so small that it would be real easy for me to lose one of them. So I'm hoping I will not do that. Okay, let me go ahead and put down this second dial. And then these 4, we're basically going to make a little square down here. And one of them I know does not have release paper on the back just because I couldn't get it to go on there. That was the first one I tried. Okay, so there's our first little one. And then here's the second. Take that little piece of release paper off and line it up with the first. And then we can do the same thing with the last 2. Okay, I think that is looking super, super cute. Okay, now what am I going to have on my TV screen? Now you could do anything you want to for this. any kind of a scene, any kind, you could do a person, you could actually even take a photograph of someone in your family and do a special TV for them. So what I'm using is, this is the piece that we did for that silver box that's going to hold our screen. I just removed the screen piece and cut out of this so that I can line everything perfect behind my my border, screen, whatever. And I decided to go with a piece of pattern paper that has Santa on it. So it's going to be like you're watching a Santa, a Christmas show. So let me go ahead and adhere that onto this little frame piece here. Just adding some adhesive around the back. You could also do a shaker card with this. That would be super cute. So many ideas. I mean, my initial thoughts when I saw this, because it was before Halloween, was that I could do a spooky movie one. So that would be really cute. You could use your stamps, whatever you want to go behind that screen, and that would completely change the theme of what your card is. Okay, so let me put a weight on this so that that has a chance to dry, and then I can adhere it to the front of my TV. So one thing I noticed is that this right here, this is fairly large, okay? So it is, just taking a look, it is base, like the bottom of the feet to the top of the console is a full 4 inches. And then going widthwise, it's a full 4 inches, which means that if you add your antenna, that's going to make it a little bit higher than that. So that's going to be almost 6 inches. So for that reason, we're not able to use a regular A2 size card base, but if you're doing the pop-up, that whole thing acts as the card in itself. So that is kind of the way that it works. So what I've done is I've taken a 5x7 card base and a piece of pattern paper that I think would look kind of cool as a, like maybe the wallpaper, and I'm going to put that as kind of the background on my card. And right now everything looks, it looks cohesive. It looks almost tone on tone the way that I've got this one done so far. So let me go ahead and put that piece down. I'm going to just use a tape runner to add my background. And I'm going to center it, and there's going to be about a 1/2 inch border all the way around. That's because I'm using a 6x6 paper pack for this. This is one of the pages from the Koala Smiles card kit from Spellbinders. So I wanted to start using up some of my other papers that I haven't used yet. Okay, so get that pretty much centered, and just double checking this is the bottom. So now I can place my TV basically anywhere that I want to in there, right? Actually, I can't do it horizontal either. I'm going to have to do it vertical. Otherwise, my antennas will wind up getting cut off. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere our antenna down, and I decided I wanted to put it off to one side. So I'll put it right over here on the back. And I'm going to wipe off most of that excess. This glue does dry clear and matte, but sometimes you can still see it on mirror cardstock. It would basically just wind up making it look a little bit more vintage because it's an older TV, right? Okay, so now I can go ahead and add adhesive down all over the back of my TV and mount that down onto the card. Okay, I think I'm going to just kind of line it up with the edges. This panel that I put on here is about 4 inches by 6, so I took a 6x6 page and just cut off 4 inches along one side. Okay, so there we go for that, and now I can add my little Santa. We'll add our TV screen, right? Which means you can have this set up and do all sorts of different themes with it just by changing out what you put on the screen. Okay, and then we've also got this little piece that sometimes it's hard to figure out what exactly it is, but it's actually the reflection, because these screens usually were a little bit domed, and you could get a little bit of a reflection on the screen while you were watching it. Okay. So I'll go ahead and put that right up there, and you can do either side, doesn't really matter. Okay, so that looks cute. And so all we need is a sentiment. Now, since I added Santa on there, I figure this is a good Christmas card. So I'm just going through some of the stuff that I've got sitting off to the side from previous projects that I didn't use. And I've got this glimmered up sentiment. I will look up and put the link to what collection this one came from down in the description. I've also got some red and green foliage and flowers, like a little poinsettia here. I'm going to go ahead and add those down as well. I've got some extras. Don't know if I need to use all this or if I need more, but I'm going to just go ahead and just add a little pop of red on here. It's going to add a little bit extra color to this really pretty card. So just adding my little poinsettia down. And it kind of looks like, you know, vintage Christmas, and then you did a little bit of extra decorating because, of course, we're decorating for Christmas, right? Okay, add a pop of the red over to the side too, over here, and add us a few of these little leaves. Okay, and then just to add a little bit extra, I think I'm going to use a couple of little gems that I've got in my stash. Actually, these are tiny confetti pieces. I'm going to add some little bits in the center of each of the flowers. And then as soon as that glue dries, I'm going to say that this is all done. So that's going to finish up this card that I created using the 3D Vignette Retro Television. Didn't do it as a vignette. Instead, I just did it as a flat, well, not even flat. This one does have a bit of dimension on there, but just did it as a TV on the front of a card. And I think this turned out so super cute. I can also imagine doing something like this for someone's birthday and then having a picture of them and you, or not, in there instead of having Santa. So I think this turned out super cute. You guys be sure to check out this playlist to see some more cards where I'm using Spellbinders products. And remember, if I can do this, you can too. Talk to you next time.